she is here if there is something weighing on your heart. And if you or any little ones feel like you have to get up and move, please know that there is a live feed of this in Adams Hall. And there's a lot of room to move around. And there will also be snacks after service where you're welcome to take your younger kids. And there's also playground time too. And to our guests online when this is recorded and in the house today, thank you so much for being here. Lynn Murphy is here. There is Lynn in the back. Is here to answer any of your questions you may have about our congregation or about Unitarian Universalism. There are also guest forms at both entrances to the sanctuary and a QR code on your order of service and on the screen, and you can fill those out so we can stay in touch with y'all. And please do join us for coffee hour right after this. It's going to be through these doors and to the left. And when you get there, please take a blue mug so that we know that you are new. And if you are a member or a friend, please look for those blue mugs so we are sure to welcome our guests. We also have an online coffee hour at 1:30 if that is more your style. And now I invite you, as you wish, to join in our welcome today by responding with, "You are welcome here," at the end of each of these statements. If you are Black, brown, white, indigenous, APIA, whatever your origins,
you are welcome here.
If you are an immigrant, a refugee, or a person without documentation,
you are welcome here.
No matter whom you love or what your gender identity,
you are welcome here.
If you have a disability, visible or invisible, or if you are neurodiverse,
you are welcome here.
If you believe in God all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time,
you are welcome here.
And if you want for nothing, or you struggle each day just to make it through,
you are welcome here.
And if you have been here a million times, or you just came for the very first time today,
you are welcome here.
For this is a community of diversity, of love, and of justice. And
it is good to be together.
Let us enter into the spirit of worship. The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism that we light when entering sacred space, with the bowl representing the beloved community and the flame representing the spark of the divine that burns in each of us. Our chalice lighting words come to us today from UU Reverend Lisa Doak. Why a flaming chalice? The question comes. It's the cup of life, we answer. A cup of blessings overflowing, a cup of water to quench our spirit's thirst, a cup of wine for celebration and dedication, the flame of truth, the fire of purification, oil for anointing, healing. Out of chaos, fear, and horror, thus was the symbol crafted a generation ago. So may it be for us in these days of uncertainty, sorrow, and rage, a light to warm our souls and guide us home. Please rise in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry, and then remain standing for our congregational covenant.
We are only singing verses 1 and 2 at this time. Don't worry, we're coming back for 3 and 4 later. Oh, right.
Please join me in speaking our congregational covenants. Covenants are the promises that hold us together. They help us understand who we are. They help us understand and notice when brokenness has happened. And our covenants bring us back to ourselves and back into community once more. So please join me in speaking this congregation's covenant. As a free congregation, we promise to one another our mutual trust and support. To create beloved community, we promise to be kinder to each other than we have to be, to listen fully to each other with an open mind and heart, to speak responsibly and respectfully, and to find ways to improve our church for all members and friends. Please be seated.
Every week, we share our offertory with a community organization that reflects our values and commitment to service. This month, we are pleased to be sharing our plate with Assisi House. Assisi House provides housing for unhoused or housing insecure individuals in small communal settings where each person is treated with dignity and respect as they recover from the devastating effects of being unhoused. You can donate through the plate that's going to be passed around or through the QR code on the screen, and there's also a QR code on your order of service. We practice generosity, knowing that our gifts create ripples of love and care in our community. So let us be a generous people. Please join me in dedicating our offering. To the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, so today is the Ask the Minister Anything Almost service. The almost meeting. I try not to answer questions about my private life because my family is very private. So we steer away from it. You can ask questions about me, but not about my family. And another reason that I love this service, I find it exciting. I love to see the questions that come. But also questioning is a really important part of being Unitarian Universalism. Because we don't ask ourselves to accept anything just because somebody said so. We have what's called the free pulpit and the free pew. So this is a free pulpit. So there is no central diocese or authority telling me what I have to preach and what I have to follow in terms of a dogma or a creed. I am called to preach, and it's in my contract, actually, from my conscience, and to use the pulpit responsibly and respectfully from within my conscience. And then the free pew is that you are not obligated to accept one thing I say. You have your own conscience. You have your own mind. You have your own questions. You have your own thoughts and your own values. So really, the relationship between the pulpit and the pew is a dialogue, right? It's a running dialogue. And you know, we often say to ourselves as ministers that, I mean, if we've been together now, I'm starting my 7th year with you, right? It's pretty cool. So we have been in a dialogue for 7 years, and the dialogue is continuing. So we're going to start. So I've been asking for questions. You've been sending me questions, and the kids have been sending me questions. So we're going to use our Time for All Ages to answer your questions, and I'm going to ask you, if you sent the question, to raise your hand, And I know some of you aren't here, you're going to be watching us online, so I'm going to recognize that you're there too, because you are there, just as everybody else is. And so these are the questions that the children sent to me in the last couple weeks. Alba, who is not here, hi Alba, wanted me to ask, what is my favorite bookstore and what is my favorite book? My favorite bookstore is Left Bank Books, which is an independent bookstore in the Central West End. Hi. You are welcome to come forward, but you can also stay with your parents, because I thought it might be easier, but thank you. I'm going to go sit with you then, since you're here. All right. Okay, because you also asked a question that I really, really liked. So when I go online, I try to shop from bookstore.org, because then you can identify which independent bookstore you're going to support through your purchase with them. So they send a percentage of whatever they make to that bookstore, and I chose Left Bank Books. So, and Ro works at Left Bank Books. It's, there's so few independent bookstores left that we have to support them. And then Alba asked, what is my favorite book when I was a kid? Well, that's a hard one. I used to really love Little House on the Prairie series, but we know there's issues with Little House on the Prairie because of its depiction of indigenous people. And that in fact, when the family moved there, it had not even been ceded to America yet. It was still technically the property, and it was the land of the indigenous people. And they moved there anyways. So their moving was an act of violence, as was the depiction of indigenous people. So I kind of have left that one beside, even though I've read it like 10 times when I was a kid, and watched the show, and reenacted the show at school the next day with everybody else who watched it. My favorite book really is Charlotte's Web. I love Charlotte's Web.
I like the Percy Jackson series.
Ah, the Percy Jackson series. I guess I have to read it because I don't know it. But thank you. All right. Okay. Here's some more. I guess I should have just called you forward like always. But, all right. George. Hi, George. He's not here either. He asked, what's my favorite sport? I really love hockey and soccer. No, baseball. I love hockey and baseball. I didn't used to like hockey, but then I discovered that there is let me just say, a lot of queer hockey romances are a really huge thing, and I'm addicted to queer hockey romances. So then I thought, well, I might as well see if I like the game, even though I'm Canadian and never liked the game, because of its violence. So anyways, I'm a Maple Leafs fan, because I'm from Toronto. But I follow the Professional Women's Hockey League. That is like the bomb for me. And I support the teams that are in Ontario. And for baseball, I'm a Jays fan. Definitely a Jays fan. So last year's World Series was heartbreaking. But when they're doing badly, I'm a Cardinals fan. And now I really support the Professional Women's Baseball League, which has started for the first time in 70 years, and I've been to Springfield twice for their games, and I support Boston because that's where American Unitarianism started, and because I always go for the underdog team. Boston's the underdog team, clearly. Yes. And then Clark, why did you want to become a reverend? Well, I used to study religious and cultural history, and I wanted to be a university professor. But I realized I didn't like being in academia. And that all my friends said, when you do a conference paper, you're really preaching, you're not doing a paper. So I thought, well, I should do religion instead of study it. And that's how I went into Unitarianism. And I like public speaking a lot. I won a lot of awards in school for public speaking.
I really like public speaking. We can too. But
I know you do. Okay. Well, the next question is yours. The next question is, how much do you like... The next one is yours. How much do you like Greek myths, and do you have a favorite god or goddess? My favorite is Athena. I do like Greek mythology. When I was in the 5th grade, we had a unit on Greek mythology, and I learned all about them, and I loved them from there on in. And I think Athena is an amazing goddess. And I would have chosen her, but you got to her first. So my favorite god is Poseidon, the god of water. because I love being in water, I love being by water, I like water in all ways, seas and oceans and rivers.
I decided because I like going to the pool.
Right. And I love the smell of the Great Lakes. I grew up 2 minutes from Lake Erie, and so I always smell the lake.
Last Halloween, Mossy dressed up as Poseidon and I dressed up as Athena. And also, I do think it's pretty strange that both of us are siblings, and both of and I like Athena and Mossy likes Poseidon, and it's a little bit complicated between them. So.
Well, isn't that just the truth for siblings anyways, isn't it? It's always complicated.
It's true.
Okay, we're going to move on to your question now. Mozzie, you asked me, do I like angry birds? And do I know which bird is bomb? Thank you for making me research something this week. Because I called my nephew, who's now 18, and I said, what do I need to know about angry birds? And he laughed and laughed and laughed. So I've learned that Angry Birds, if you've had the misfortune like me of never playing Angry Birds, Angry Birds is a video game where the birds, they're flightless birds who are protecting their eggs from angry, robust purple pigs. And
They're not purple pigs.
oh, they're green.
Yeah,
They're green. The eggs are purple. And the bomb, I'm going to answer your question now. The bomb is the bird that can blow itself up and then, blow up big structures and things.
And then they
And then the pigs
fly
are-
to the screen.
Yeah, and then the pigs fly towards the screen, you see them splat, right? But, and then you asked what was my favorite angry bird, and my favorite angry bird is the magenta bird known as Maflinty,
Oh,
because the Maflinty has the ability to blow 5 bubbles, which can cause significant damage to wood and glass structures. And I promise never to blow the 5 bubbles in this sanctuary.
no, it's eyes, I think.
Oh.
I think.
Okay, we're going to move on. Thank you, Mozzie.
That's eyes.
Now there are questions from Alexander, who is 6. Is Alexander here? Is that you?
Also, did I mention I'm also sick?
Yes, you did. Okay, so these are the questions. Do you see a lot of bears at your house? And the reason you asked that is because you were at Lone Elk State Park, and your dad told you that I live upstream from Lone Elk Park by the Merrimack River. So, no, I don't see bears at my house. However, it's interesting about bears in Missouri because bears went extinct in Missouri in 1930 because of logging and overhunting. And they also went extinct in Arkansas. So that was in the 1930s. In the 1960s, bears were brought in from, where were they brought in from? From Minnesota and Manitoba, Canada. It's my turn. Back into Arkansas, and then they traveled, and now they're in Missouri. And so back in 2019, there were 350 bears in Missouri. Now there are over 1,000 bears in Missouri. And we have seen bears in the St. Louis area, right? Coming through, and they've had to be taken somewhere else safe. And there have been bears in St. Clair. There have been bears in Union. So I carry bear spray when I go walking. But I hope to never see one at my house.
What? Bears.
Keep your questions and ask them during coffee hour, okay? How do I choose the songs at Eliot? Well, once I have an idea of what I want to talk about in my message, I start sleuthing for songs. So I look at our gray and teal hymnals. The gray is the older one from the 90s. The teal is the one from the late 90s, early 2000s. And we have a new hymnal called Sing with Love that is online. That was just released last year, and it's by subscription. So there's always new songs being published in our online hymnals. So I go to those places. I also collect hymnals. I love hymnals, it's just a thing. And so I will peruse the hymnals from the liberal denominations and find stuff there. And I'm always listening to actually music that's written and published by UUs, so that I can see, do I want to use that music in here? So, and then that's what I do. but also our choir director, Nadia, does the same thing. So does David, and all of our guest musicians, as now our new worship band, which is called Light the Way, also does that. Shh. Yes, there are. Final question. This is a very, very important question. How do they choose the snacks at Eliot? Because sometimes we go and there are Cheez-Its, and other times there are no Cheez-Its. Why is this? And I'm going to call forth Carolyn Burke and Rebecca Shooter, who are our coffee hour coordinators, to tell you why. Or maybe, yes, this is Carolyn. Carolyn's going to go to the pulpit so everybody can hear. This is a very important answer.
You can hear me on the microphone. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Carolyn Burke, and along with Rebecca Shooter, we're partners with the coffee team. All of the items in the food share table are donations from members. They could be left over from an Eliot gathering or meeting, or from an event someone had at their home, and they want to share their leftovers with us. The coffee team finds food stored in the refrigerator, like crackers, cookies, and sometimes cheeses. Sometimes we have homemade biscuits from Bob Becker.
Yay.
A baked good or bread or cake from Bonnie Gayer. And the popular store-bought donuts and strawberries from Sarah Fleming. I always make sure I have a chocolate one to make my day. We try to have gluten-free items, as well as they are marked with a sign and set on a tray. So if you're gluten-free, we try to serve you too. We especially like when someone brings an item ready to be placed on the table, so the coffee team can concentrate on serving the beverages. Eliot has a long history of having food at each service, after each service. Who can remember the youth group who bought and sold bagels to raise money for Boston Bound and Youth Conference? Yes, put your hands. So yes, we appreciate anyone who brings food to share, and we're happy to put it out, or you put it out too.
We get our bagels from Snap.
From you I sing, to you I give. Together we share this we live. From you I sing, to you I give. Together we share this we live.
So today's prayer, in the spirit of a child, is called the blanket fort prayer. How many of you made blanket forts in the living room when you were kids? You get a sheet and you move all the furniture and you put the blanket over, and then you'd sneak in all the kids and you'd sit and you'd giggle and you'd tell jokes and you'd just enjoy. You have your flashlight on maybe. You just enjoy being in your safe, private space. So this is a blanket fort prayer for adults. So I invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation as you are willing and able. And we often start with 3 breaths to ground and center ourselves. And I invite you to join with me as you are willing and able, because this must be a consensual thing. So let us begin with 3 deep breaths, and then our prayer will commence. Dear friend, meet me at the altar of Banned Books, Blanket Fort Sanctuary, We will dance to a chorus of children's laughter. Meet me in the joy, the sorrow, beneath the rainbow banner. Bring your questions, cares, concerns. Bring the glitter in your pocket and the sparkle in your smile. Bring your heavy heart, your favorite mug, your very best swear words. Set down your very bravest face and meet me in the heartbeat between what has been and what will be. Meet me in the flicker of our eternal flame. We need not face this moment alone. Let us enter into the spirit of prayer. Let us enter into a time of silence. Let us speak the names of those we would hold in our love and care. Let us meet in the heartbeat between what has been and what will be. Meet me in the flicker of our eternal flame. We need not face this moment alone. Amen and blessed be. And please stay seated for our meditative hymn. And I'll leave my microphone on for this as well, as hers.
Good morning. This one is a round. We are going to sing it one time in unison as written. This is number 1003 if you're using hymnals. As written, people who have hymnals, please do take the repeats. And then we'll sing it twice as a round. If you are on this side, you're following me. If you're on this side, you're following Reverend Krista. We are part 1, you are part 2. When you are finished with your last time through the round, please go back to line 3, mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and mystery. And if you have a hymnal, please look up because we're going to end quietly.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery. mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Our reading this morning is
Microphone.
Green mic? Yeah, all right. Our reading this morning is a series of questions that were pulled from the Book of Questions by beloved Chilean poet Pablo Neruda. So this was originally written in Spanish, translated into English, but in both languages, the questions are intended to be deliciously difficult to answer. So here are a few lovelies to get y'all in the mood to ask Krista the big, real, weird questions. Okay, so here's a few lovely ones. How many bees are in a day? Is 4 the same 4 for everybody? And if so, are all 7s equal too? How do the oranges divide up sunlight in the orange tree? If I have died and don't know it, of whom do I ask the time? Where do the things in dreams go? How many churches are there in heaven? Where is the child I was? Still inside me or gone? If the color yellow runs out, with what will we make bread? And tell me, is the rose naked or is that her only dress? How old is November anyway? What do you call the sadness of a single solitary sheep? Couldn't it be better to be never than to be late? What will Polish people think of my hat in 100 years? Am I sometimes evil or am I always good? Whom can I ask what I came to make happen in this world? And finally, is there anything sillier in this life than to be called Pablo Neruda? So concludes the reading.
So, many of you sent questions ahead of time, so we're going to answer those questions. And then when we're finished, we're going to have a handheld microphone, and Ro is going to come, and if you have a question, raise your hand, and we'll do as many of them as we can. So we started like 15 minutes late, so we're at 11 now, which is really 10:45. So just to let you know, we're going to have about 15, 20 minutes for this. So let's begin. We need her to have her microphone. Ro needs a microphone. Ro needs a microphone.
Adam, yeah, cool. All right, so our first question comes from Sue Myers. Thank you. And the question is, I hear you're having a sabbatical this winter. What is the sabbatical, and what have you planned for it?
Yes, I am passing my microphone on. So yeah, in the Unitarian Universalist tradition, a minister is offered a month of sabbatical for every year of service, beginning after 5 years of service. So this is my 6th year with you, so I'll be taking a sabbatical this winter from January through the end of April. I will be other places than here. And I'm really, really excited about a sabbatical. And the sabbatical is for a minister to renew themselves. We are basically, in our mindset, we have to reinvent our ministry every 5 years to stay effective. So that is a time for me to reflect on what has happened in the time that I've been here and who I've needed to be, and then who I need to be as a minister for the next 5 years. So I will start to think about those. That I'll be having a dialogue with myself and everything that I've learned from you all in the time that I've been with you. But we also have projects. We're supposed to have fun during our sabbatical. So I wrote a whole bunch of hymns in my last sabbatical in 2012, and I need to finish them. So my plan is to finish them and to submit them one by one to our online hymnal, Sing Out Love, to see if they'll be published. I also want to do a research on a church that was started in St. Louis called the Unity Universalist Church of St. Louis back in the 1870s. That's hardly ever written about at all. I'm a historian, so I want to research this church. It was created through conflict between Chicago and Boston, which had different forms of Unitarianism. And so the downtown church, what is now, the Church of the Messiah, was a Boston allied church, so they were completely Christian. And the Unity Church was moving more towards humanism or theistic, non-Christian theism. And so Chicago planted that church. And people from the Church of the Messiah left to go to that church because they disagreed with the minister there, who was William Greenleaf Eliot, who said Boston and only Boston. So I want to research this because I love when stories are suppressed. It's like, why? What's going on? So I'm going to do that. And then I'm taking my mother to Germany. I'm taking her to Berlin and to Dresden and going to see friends. And other than that, I'm going to be relaxing and probably my partner and I are going to go somewhere really nice. I want to take her somewhere very nice and special because we don't usually get to do that.
Wonderful. All right, and Mike Laird's question. I'm wondering about EUUC's experience with DHS so far this year, if any.
So DHS is the Department of Homeland Security. And we know that the UUA is being watched, which is why none of their email addresses or phone numbers are online anymore. We're being watched both because of our support for LGBTQ rights, especially transgender inclusion, as well as our position on immigration, which is that we support immigration and we support immigrants. So we know that in some churches, DHS, our ICE officers have been there incognito listening during Sunday services. We have no idea if that's happening here. We have no indication it's happening here. One of the things we've also done, you'll notice that we have a lot of doors that say private on them. That's because if ICE comes with a judicial warrant and you have private on doors, they have to say exactly which rooms on the warrant. So if they come with a judicial warrant, not an administrative warrant, because those do not have the force of law, and we have the right to say no. But if they have a judicial warrant signed by a judge, without those rooms specified, all they can do is go into Adams Hall and our sanctuary, because those are our public places. Everything else is private. And that protects our children, and it also protects our people. I mean, we're very aware that black and brown people are being targeted by ICE, and we have people in our congregation who are among that population, and we want to ensure that they are safe here. So, and we have a whole protocol we've developed if ICE should show up here, whether it's during the week or on a Sunday. So we, most UU churches and a lot of liberal Christian churches and liberal Jewish congregations have done the same thing.
Thank you. Okay, and Jim, Lyons questions, what am I to do when I see someone asking for handouts at an intersection in Kirkwood?
We have all had that experience. Use your conscience. See them as human beings. They're human beings. This is my experience with that. When I lived in Toronto, when I first moved there for grad school, there was a homeless person about every block. And so it was always, and I would live downtown and walk to school, and so I saw homeless people all the time. And then we elected a conservative government that started shutting down programs, and they cut monthly welfare payments in half. And the homeless population skyrocketed. And you would see a homeless person like every 10 feet on the sidewalk, wherever you walk downtown. And I got to know some of these unhoused people because I pass them every day. And someone said to me, one of those individuals that I became close with said to me, the worst thing is not whether a person gives me money or not. It's whether they recognize I exist. So when you see a homeless person, even if it's every 10 feet, always say hello. You have recognized their existence, because so often we are erased over and over again. So what I did is in Canada we have $1 coins and $2 coins, and when I had money left over, because I was a student, I'd put that in my pocket, and I would say hello to everybody, and then I would give that away. So now we keep dollar bills in our cars, both of us, my partner and I, and so if we have the opportunity, if the light's green, obviously you're going to keep going. If we have the opportunity, we'll start giving those out, and we're always replenishing that. And also with any spare change, it all goes in our cars, so we can give that money away.
Wonderful. And Bob Becker's question, if you had to switch to a profession or trade that was more manual, blue collar, what would it be?
Well, if I still had the body of a 20-year-old, I would go back to painting houses. I put myself through grad school painting houses, both commercial and residential. And I worked for this company that was all underemployed university graduates and one unemployed minister. And we called ourselves the Rapture Team. And we had a contract with a grocery company. And we went to all these small towns in Ontario, and we would have like one night to paint the whole store. And so we would just we put ourselves on the grocery carts and just roll along and just go like this and painting. And I'm going to admit this, we would know when the security cameras were fake, and we'd bake a pizza in the kitchen. And then we would stay in some really crappy rural Ontario hotel for the night and move on to the next one. And we had a whole bunch of jokes. We had a stunt guy too. And my joke was always, because I had come out, they said, well, we're going to make you paint in the closet. We're putting you back in the closet. So I painted all the closets. And then the front right seat was the rapture seat because the minister was Baptist. So whoever was in the front rapture seat had to be raptured at some point when everybody said rapture when we were driving, and we'd all be raptured. So that's what I would do if I had my 20-year-old body. I love painting.
Awesome. All right, and Barb Jones would like to know a couple of things. First, what are your favorite ways to relax?
Oh, I listen to audiobooks. I love audiobooks. I'm always listening to audiobook when I'm in the car, when I'm in the kitchen, when I'm going for walks. I'm always listening to a book. And I also like gardening.
Wonderful. And what differences do you see between the people of Canada versus the people in the U.S.?
I'm Canadian, if you don't know. Well, I'm dual citizen now, but I'm Canadian. So Canadians and Americans see silence differently. So if you're in a group in the U.S., and I've noticed this, when you're in a group in the U.S. and you're having a discussion, you need to make a decision. When the group goes silent, the assumption is generally that you've come to an agreement and you can move on. Canadians will understand that as not everybody's had a chance to speak yet, and the discussion is not done. So in Canada, we are socialized to be very mindful of how much room we take and very careful. So, you know, our bodies are held closer. We keep further distance between people than Americans do. And in a meeting, if there's silence, the leader knows that means they have to extend an invitation. Because Canadians will often wait for an invitation to speak, to be sure they're not taking too much room. So the leader will go around and say, are there any more comments? Or sometimes go and ask each individual person around the room if there are any more comments or things to share. And then we'll ensure that there's consensus by asking for either a nod or a yes. And only then is a decision made. So sometimes when Americans and Canadians do business together, the Americans will think of the silence as, it's all done, and go, all right, we're all ready to go. And the Canadians are like, what? What? Oh, those obnoxious Americans. You know, when really they're just waiting for their turn to speak. So each side has to understand what silence means, and they're very different.
Right on. And where would you like to go in the world that you've never been?
I want to experience the winter and summer solstice in the Arctic Circle. That's where I want to go. And are those all of our questions? Oh, there's one more question, I think.
Yes. And this is from Janice Cox.
Yes.
If I make a donation to Eliot Chapel to honor a loved one who has passed away, in which account is it put? Can I request that my donation be put into a specific fund, like the Memorial Garden or perhaps the Social Justice Fund?
Very good, because we have a policy for this. And our policy is that when a gift is offered, if it makes us do something we weren't doing and would incur costs to do it, we say no to the gift. If there's a visible need and a person identifies that need and says, I would like to give to that need, then we will give to that need. That's how our sanctuary screen happened. That's how our electric sign happened. It's how our memorial garden happened. People saw the need and said, I'm willing to pay for that. Will that work for you? But mostly, we like to get gifts with no restrictions on them. And those gifts will be put in the endowment fund. Almost all of it will be put in the endowment fund. And we have a new policy that we can withdraw 4% of our endowment fund every year. So it's slow growth, but access to those funds. And the reason I've encouraged us to do that is that we need to diversify where our funds come from, beyond pledges. Because the real income of people has gone down. And so those of you who are in your retirement, who had secure jobs, better paying wages, better benefits, you can pledge more than I will be able to pledge when I'm your age. And so every generation, the real income of people goes down. And at this point in time, when we lose someone in the upper ranges, it can take 10 to 20 new members to fill the gap of their pledge. So we need to be building our endowment fund. My goal, I would love to see the endowment fund, it should be 2 times your budget. And our budget is $900,000. So I would love to see it be 1.8 million. And then continue to grow and grow so that we can draw more money from it. And so that we have a reliable source of income. And I think we have to be looking at other ways we can get reliable sources of income beyond pledges. So that's my answer. Beautiful. And that's the last question that we have here. So we're going to have a handheld microphone. I believe that was arrangements were made for that. And if you raise your hand, we'll take as many as we can. And we're going to try and keep track of which hands go up first, so we keep in running order.
Got you, Rebecca.
And Ro will try to keep track of that. So we've got Rebecca, we've got Cindy so far. And I need to get some more. Well, why don't you go start going around and repeat the question so we can get started. So we're going to start with Rebecca Taylor.
Just have you speak into it, Rebecca.
Okay, first of all, thanks for doing this. This is really fun. Here comes Adam with maybe the real mic.
Let's just keep going.
Okay, here we go. I have a very short question. I just would like to know what the endowment is now. If our goal is 1.8 million, what's our endowment now? I think we have a ways to go.
Our endowment is about $300,000 now. It was $100,000, but then we also received a very generous gift from Chad Keller, who deceased last fall and left us his home. And we also know we have another gift coming from someone who's passed. We'll let you know how much it is once it arrives. It's a very generous gift. So mostly the money comes from bequests. So one of the things we are going to do is we're going to do a legacy fund drive and invite you to put Eliot in your will so that there is some money and that your commitment to Unitarian Universalism will live on beyond you. This is about, this is about our future as a faith. And next was Cindy.
Would you please explain how the Memorial Garden works, kind of the purpose and...
Yes.
Yeah.
The Memorial Garden is available for members and friends of the congregation who have deceased. There is a fee of $200 if you can afford it that we ask for members. For non-members, it's $300 to inter your ashes in the Memorial Garden. Normally, I or Reverend D will do a very short ceremony. What we do is there's no containers allowed, that we clear an area of dirt and scoop some of it to the side and we put the ashes in. Sometimes the family wants to put them in, sometimes they want me to put them in, and then we rake all that into the soil and cover it back up with the mulch. That's how we do the memorial, that's how the Memorial Garden is used. And the fees we charge pay for the upkeep of the Memorial Garden, so that it is self-sustaining. Yes. Yes, Bill. And then Bill has his hand up, and then Rebecca.
Was it difficult as a gay preacher as gay preacher? Did they make it more difficult for you, or how difficult was it for you?
The denomination, no. But sometimes in ministry, yes. So when I was serving in the early 2000s, I started in 2003. There would be congregations where they would assume that I had an agenda. And there was a congregation I served that was very afraid of doing the Welcoming Congregation program. That Welcoming Congregation program was what a lot of congregations did starting in the 90s, when we wanted to be more intentionally welcoming of LGBTQ people. And so this congregation had not done it, and they were convinced I was going to force them to do the Welcoming Congregation program. And even in my interview, I was asked, could I relate to straight people? Was that going to be a problem for me to relate to straight people? And I tried to be polite because I wanted the job, but that was very disconcerting to me. And then when I came out as bisexual to one of my first congregations, they presumed I would eventually leave my wife, that I wouldn't be able to withstand male attraction or something, which is often a judgment of bisexual women, that you're going to go back to the guy anyways. And so that was actually asked of me, like, was my marriage going to survive? I'm like, yes. I moved to a new country for my wife. I think yes. But some of those things happen. They don't happen anymore. Not within Unitarian Universalism. So I'm very thankful for that.
For those who don't know, can you show us where the Memorial Garden is?
Right there. Right there. And in this last year, Julie Triplett is in there. Donna Springer is there. And what is your mother's name? That we just interred your mom? Sandra Rhodes is in there. Jan Erdman, your husband, is in there, I believe, yes? Bill is in there? Yes. And Jerry Higginbotham is in there. So we're getting more now that it's formally opened, and I did want to recognize that Jan Erdman and Trish Williams and Jan Chamberlain and Terry Jones are the ones that put this all together for us. So thank you. Wonderful, wonderful gift. Any other questions? Yes, Rich Hoyerman.
What is your elevator speech?
My elevator speech. I do have an elevator speech. I was asked that last year, so I'm all ready again. So I heard this from another colleague of mine, and I never forgot it. This is what she said. She said that from the Unitarian side of our heritage, we believe that God is one, that Jesus was not God, so God is one. And today, in our pluralist theological tradition, that comes to us as a great oneness. From our universalist, the side of our heritage, we believe that God forgives all. There is no hell. We are all forgiven. And from that, we have taken the message of there is an ultimate love that is beyond our understanding. So our faith is that we are held in a great oneness. We are a oneness and held by a love that is beyond our understanding. I think we may have time for, let's say, 2 more, and then we will move on to the end of our service.
So it seems like the Memorial Garden is the big source of questions. And I grew up in a tradition where there was funerals, and there'd be a wake, and so you would comfort the family at the time of the death, which is very necessary. And now I see more people doing memorial weeks or months later.
Yes.
How do we support the family at the time of the greatest grief?
Through the ministers, we will reach out to the family, one of us, Reverend D or I. We will decide who's going to be assigned to which family. And then also through our pastoral care associates. We have a wonderful pastoral care associate program. And some of our people, when they've passed, they've had a pastoral care associate. And then that associate also stays in touch with the family. And what we do is immediate pastoral care. And then one of us, Reverend D or I, will work with the family to schedule when the memorial is going to be and start to make those arrangements. But they're held in care. I think.
I have one question.
Okay.
Okay.
Last question.
Just so maybe, okay. Favorite Dolly song or Tim Curry movie? Dolly Parton.
What? Dolly Parton?
Yeah, Dolly Parton passed away.
I know.
Oh yeah, but do you have a favorite Dolly song or Tim Curry? Do you have a favorite Tim Curry movie?
Yeah, Dolly Parton did an album in partnership with, there were three singers. I forget who they. Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris. I love the whole album that they made together. And I listened still to it. My mom listened to it when we were kids, and we would listen to it. We all cleaned on Saturdays, and that was one of our standards. And I still listen to that in the car. I love Dolly. I didn't like Dolly Parton when I was a kid because she was blonde, and I didn't like all that stuff, and I was blonde, and I didn't want anybody to think I was like that. But then as I grew up, I realized she's a really cool lady, and I appreciated her. Her strength of her drag persona. She had a drag persona, and I thought that rocked. Yes, we have one final question. That is, yes, thank you for reminding me. We have 2 new employees. Who are they? Well, we have Eden, who is our new intern minister for this year. Yes, thank you. And we also have Lazarus Richardson, who was our new AV tech lead, that started last week. And his responsibility is to lead the AV team, but also to do a full assessment of our AV and with recommendations for upgrades and improvements. So thank you. We're really glad you're here. Okay. Thank you so much for your questions and your open hearts. It remains a pleasure to serve you. Thank you.
Please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn. We're going to go back to We Laugh, We Cry, verses 3 and 4. And then remain standing as we close the service. Krista and to Beth and Mary and David for sharing their musical gifts. Thank you all for making this such a special service. Let us now extinguish our chalice and share a benediction. We
Extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We will keep a place for you wherever you may go. We'll sustain this home of faith and love you've come to know. Go in peace, bring hope to hearts that yearn. We will keep a place for you till you return.
And now, may the spirit of life hold you, may love bless you, and may joy find a place in your days. Love to you all. Go in peace.